So I'm gonna do my best to voice note this. But I have had an intuition for a long time that I don't think I've actually been able to put into words until the last few days after our conversation the other day. And it is that I think that dichotomies are philosophically more important than all the other types of philosophical devices. And the reason is because they are so polarizing. And I actually think that there is probably a hierarchy of dichotomies. Think of it like a tree of trees, if that makes sense. So at the top, you'd have whatever the most fundamental dichotomy is. It could be order and chaos. It could be individual versus collective, maximizing gain versus minimizing loss. I don't really know what it is. But I think that there is probably one at the top, and it beget two more dichotomies, both of which also beget two more. And then at every layer down, each dichotomy is begetting two more dichotomies. And so essentially, I think that this is my intuition that if we know what all of the dichotomies are and also can plot their order in the tree of hierarchies, then it might not be a pyramid shape, if that makes sense. It might be something where I think I must have told you a while back about my theory about the compound concepts. A compound concept is a concept where you need to put together two or more other concepts in order to describe it. And the two or more other concepts may or may not be complete concepts on their own. They might be half concepts that only make sense in the context of each other, or they could be themselves compound concepts that are made of more compound concepts. And it's just like it's a way of describing the hierarchy of information in the context of learning. If you want to describe the learning tree of a given topic, you can do it once you know about the compound concept stuff. You can describe that tree in however precise detail you need to describe it. And I think it might be the same thing where there's probably some dichotomies that don't beget other dichotomies, or at least that only beget one dichotomy, or something like that. I'm not sure, but I think that the reason that dichotomies are more important is because they're polarizing. So it's like whatever area of life you believe you're gonna fall on one side of a dichotomy or the other. That's why this maximizing gain versus minimizing loss stuff. I have been trying to describe it in so many areas of life because I think it plays out in a lot of different areas of life. But I think actually maybe the right way to say it is just like each area of life is actually another dichotomy that is the begotten from some higher up dichotomy. And so this is why it's so difficult to describe philosophy, is because I think most people probably believe the same things, or at least in a given culture, most people believe the same things, but there's a lot of nurture involved in the way that people perceive the world. And the reason why some people are introverts and extroverts, for example, is because they fall on one side of a given dichotomy. And in order to actually switch to the other side of a given dichotomy, usually you have to understand its parent first. You can't switch directly if your understanding is only on the level of the dichotomy that you want to switch. You need to understand the parent before you can switch. And that's why it's so difficult to nail down and describe people's personalities and also philosophy in general, is because anytime you flip one of the dichotomies in the tree of dichotomies, it cascades all the way down. So you can have a whole bunch of totally different perspectives that come about as a result of switching a dichotomy at it higher up in the tree. And that's why it's so difficult. It's like everybody is like, I think there's a lot of places where people often flip back and forth. And the fact that they are flipping back and forth means that the way life presents to them and the way they interpret things changes dramatically depending on which side of a given dichotomy they are perceiving the world through at a given moment. And that's why, like, I think you told me the other day you thought I was an introvert. And I thought that was funny because it's been a couple of years since I've been an introvert. I'm actually an extreme extrovert. I'm a very extroverted person, but I think I'm an introvert. Or I think you're perceiving the fact that I am a thinker, potentially. I don't know. And inferring that I'm an introvert, but I'm not. I'm an extremely extrovert person. I'm doing social stuff all the time and interacting with a lot of strangers. And I'm also taking energy from it. It's fueling me. But that, I think, is a dichotomy. I switch back and forth. I do that thing where there's a moment of decision when I go out where I choose to embrace the other side and become an extrovert while I'm out. And then I switch back when I get back home. And I actually don't always make this switch successfully. It kind of depends on stuff that I'm trying to get better at, but I do a lot of the time. And then when I'm there, when I'm in it, I think that way. And it changes the way I see everything while I'm there. And it's palpable. I feel it. I don't know. Anyways, it's always been my supposition that I think anyone should be able to have any perspective and also therefore have any kind of personality given enough awareness of the tree of dichotomies and how to navigate it. And I think that that is something that should be possible to do if my intuition is correct. And that's what I wanted to say. Sorry for such a long voice now.